Okay, today's video, we're going to talk about TV ads and how you can run those and make really good 10 times return or higher for your business. And yes, TV ads do still actually work. With some caveats. You of course have to do it right, just like anything else. But if you got PPC campaigns going right now, which that's what this channel is about, you can actually make your PPC campaigns work a whole lot better just sprinkling in a little bit of TV ads on top of it. So TV ads by themselves can be okay, but when you combine the power of the PPC and the remarketing and everything else you have going, and then you add some TV advertising to your brand, to your company on top of that, that's where the magic really happens. And I'm going to explain why that is. We've got a couple companies where we ran TV ads for clients. Well, not us exactly, but the client ran TV ads. I added in some input on how to tweak what they were doing to get the most out of it. We helped them with their PPC, and then I'm sharing with you how much more sales that they got once they started adding in the TV ads in addition to the PPC, which is kind of the low-hanging fruit in any given market to make money, given you actually know what you're doing in PPC as far as PPC, and it can outdo your competitors with PPC, having a better ad with a better click-through rate and a better landing page or better site conversion rate. So that said, I'll get right into the content to explain how you can actually do TV advertising in a way that makes money, get seen on your customers' favorite TV programs, and use that to develop the awareness for your product that will turn into sales and profits for your company. Anything you do advertising-wise works based upon how novel the viewer sees what you're showing them is and how they feel about what they've seen. So in other words, anytime you're advertising, when people see your ads, the way that they feel about what they've seen is going to dictate to how much that's going to compel that user to take action, either now or in the near future, when they were planning to make a purchase from you or will make a purchase from somebody in the market itself. Low value ads like banner ads are thought of totally different than something like a TV ad because of the amount that the viewer actually sees of it in time. So people think that it costs a lot of money to advertise on TV, whereas conversely they don't think it costs very much to run a banner ad because they see banner ads all over the place, whereas they only see TV ads sometimes. And so when they see a TV ad, as a result of this, they basically put more stock in what they've seen. Okay? Ultimately, and conversely, tied to this concept, business owners think advertising that's expensive isn't worth it, and advertising that's cheap is a good value, when really it's quite the opposite in most cases. When everybody's doing something, because most people want cheap, they want cheap advertising, they want to do it cheaply, and you end up doing it the quality way makes more overall money because you're going to be the one that stands out, and people put more stock in what they've seen, given that they don't normally see the quality stuff that you put together at the end, at the end of the day, basically. So a TV ad, while expensive, pulls more sales per dollar spent on ads than a banner ad because of how people value what they've seen in that form, in that medium or channel, versus what they've seen in other places like on CNN.com when you see a banner ad there. That said, I talk about banner ads and how you can make lots of money with banner ads, running display ads like that across the web. You still can make money. Every channel has its own value. If you could get banner ads for free, of course you would run them. The only question is what's the price is worth paying for them. And people kind of ultimately undervalue, we'll just say, more expensive forms of advertising like TV ads, and people overvalue the banner ads based upon how cheap they are. And while people should probably pay a little bit less for banner ads to make it worth it, they should pay more for TV ads given they're such a good value, given most of the competitors in their niche are just going to look at TV ads and say, oh, that's too expensive, and not do it. If you tell, you could prove this out by just asking some people in your business, I'm planning to run a $15,000 TV ad slot on the Food Network for our new barbecue sauce, and they're going to about fall off of their chair when you tell them that. That's a perfect sign that what you're doing is actually going to work, because nobody in your space is willing to do it. Therefore, you're going to be the only one, and people highly view that because, again, stuff that they don't see a lot of, they're going to value it more in terms of the message being delivered. So, and as an advertiser, the people that really make money are got to be completely agnostic in how they feel about what the cost of the advertising is. At the end of the day, what's it produce? If something costs a lot, I get it from the business owner's perspective. You may be thinking, well, what if it doesn't work? At the end of the day, okay, sure. You start out doing low-hanging fruit on activities like running Google ads for your business. Once you build that up so far, though, you're totally missing out, not dipping into the more profitable stuff like TV ads that are more expensive, and just figuring out what's the value of it. Anybody could come up with $15,000 for a TV ad spot on your customer's favorite channel to be reviewed within the programming itself, which is where the real money is, and I'm going to talk about in a second what we did for a tool supplier. You run it and you see how many sales it brings in. Yeah, people have rushed online for doing online advertising because of how trackable it is, but at the end of the day, all advertising is trackable. You just have to know how to track it using something called conversion lift measurements, which I'm also going to talk about. So you could run a TV ad, figure out what that TV ad pulled in sales, and decide to do it or not do it again. And you should be an investigator in your market about figuring out what channels are going to work and what channels are not. With something like TV ads, it's pretty easy. It's easier from the standpoint than PPC, because with PPC, it's all driven off of an algorithm, and the sales with like Google ads are terrible at first until you've built up a few months worth of data. With TV ads, yes, you have to drop $15K for one spot, but either the TV ad's going to pull in the first day to 90 days, or it's not going to pull, and you're going to know if it works or not just from that. So really, it's not that much different when you view it from that angle. Which, by the way, a lot of people think Google ads should work right away like it's a light switch, and that's not at all how it works. And that's why 90% of people who run Google ads fails, because they just think they're going to get rich instantly. They don't need any more than $100, because once they put $100 into it, it's going to generate enough sales to finance the second $100 with the spend, and then that's it. And if it was that easy, by the way, your competitors who are needing sales and have barely any money would have already done it. And that was the way that it was in 2007. Those days aren't coming back. Anyway, though, so now that you understand to put a different mindset around something that's expensive as potential TV advertising for your business, and it's all relative to what it pulls in, and it's all measurable, and the fact that your competitors are going to think it's too expensive, so therefore that is why it's going to work. You're going to be the one person where customers put the most weight on what they listen and see and hear of. You're going to be the only one in your market doing it. So we've had clients do extremely well advertising on TV in 2023, and of course before this, because it works. And then, of course, what the great thing about advertising, again, yes, you'll lose some money trying some new things out inevitably in your business, but once you find something that works, you could do it for the next 10 years. So all you got to do is just have one win out of 10, and you're still making tons of money. If you look at it from that standpoint, you cannot lose trying new things. In reality, though, is with these TV ads like I'm telling you here, 50-50 chance you should be able to make money at least. Where my clients, though, are making the most money is running spots on niche relevant TV shows, okay? What that means is, like I was talking about before, if you have a barbecue sauce and you want to sell more of it, you run a actual native ad spot on the Food Network where there's a 5-minute slot on a TV show that's normally posted, and where it might be somewhere a famous chef is cooking different stuff and showing you how to cook stuff, and then you get a 5-minute slot where you come in as the business owner and explain how your barbecue sauce actually is the better barbecue sauce to make any barbecue dish itself. And then, so it's weaved right in with the regular content that people would view, meaning people give it even more stock than a TV ad, because normally when people see TV ads, they don't really pay attention very much. And that specific type of TV ad right there, which a lot of people don't even know they can do, works extremely well as far as what we've found, particularly as we know how to measure it really well and we know the numbers are there. It's a really great opportunity for any business that wants to try it. A feature on the food channel, the mortar TV channel, will generally cost about $15,000 for a 5-minute feature like that, but it'll bring in hundreds of thousands of dollars in sales through our online funnel that we've created through our PPC efforts, as we already have built that funnel to maximize the traffic that it brings in from the PPC. So in other words, going back to what I was saying before, if you were to run TV ads and you have no online presence, it's tough to make that work. Maybe if you have a really good offer, you might be able to make that work. But for the most part, you just got to think about it from this perspective here. The TV ad networks are selling their ad space for as much as they could sell it for without not finding a buyer for it, basically. They charge what the market will bear, supply and demand. Most people don't have a very good online presence, at least the way that I'm talking. I'm going to explain here in a minute what you need to have for this. So then they can only sell it for, a third of what they could sell it for if the person knew how to do their online advertising. So if you come in and you have a really good online presence to absorb somebody that does watch the TV show, the native ad spot that you have there on that famous TV show that all your customers watch, and you could convert that visit into a sale more efficiently than you can, then the cost that they're charging for that native advertising spot on TV is worth it every time. So that's your edge, so to say, to always get it to work. So if you've already got a really efficient PPC funnel set up for your company, when someone's Googling for your XYZ term on Google, buy power saws, and you sell power saws, and then you get that person to your site, they convert. For the people who don't convert, you follow them up with remarketing ads really efficiently, i.e. you don't just have one ad that asks them, do they want to buy over and over again, which is the idiotic thing that everybody does. You have 5, 10, 15 different ads that rotate out for the user over the next 90 days that explain why you should buy yours. If you're going to buy anything, you might as well buy yours, because you have the best reviews, you have the best testimonials, you have the best warranty, you have the best power to weight ratio, and so forth. All the things that people would be thinking about, and what you pull. Honestly, you could pull from your sales department what questions people are asking, and then extinguishing those questions in the remarketing with the reviews, with showing your average review score on Google reviews, and so forth. And with your competition not doing this, and everybody else just expecting that user from a Google ad to go to their site and then just buy instantly or nothing, and you not being that stupid and actually taking my advice here and understanding how much of an impact, how that's going to double the ROI from your search campaigns, doing this kind of follow-up, you have the follow-up, and you do get twice as much out of the Google search campaigns than the other guy. But once all that set up, you picked all that low-hanging fruit, i.e. people that want to buy from you from Google searches, that are actively ready to buy, setting up a really good site, follow-up advertising, i.e. remarketing, to convert those people that, 80% of people who come to your site the first time from a Google search aren't ready to buy that at that moment. And you follow them up over the next 3, 6, 9, whatever months, depending on with the price of the product you have, the longer it takes for them to decide to buy. Once you got that profitable, this is the time when you should be seriously considering about the TV advertising, because you could run a TV ad. You've got a very efficient system set up. So if anybody goes on their phone, because what ultimately they do is they see this ad, they go ahead and Google the name on their phone while they're sitting there in front of their TV. They get to the site. Now you've got them tagged, and you can do remarketing to them for the next 6 months, so that the other half or more of the people that aren't going to buy right away, you pick them up just through the remarketing that you have. And that's where the real money and the profit actually comes from the whole thing. So, we had a tool seller who did this and was advertising on the Motor TV channel. Had a short segment like I was talking about where they were showing the usefulness of their tool. You know, this is a segment where, similar to like what I was talking about before, you have somebody that normally hosts the show, and then the client came in and then was introducing this tool, and you know, that's basically how it works. They ran this, okay, which they had a little bit more balls than most. They right away ran this and agreed to rerun it for a few times. But it brought in about $40,000 worth of sales, which with a $15,000 cost to have it be featured on that show nationwide. And so as soon as it was shown, basically it got the $40K in sales the first day right away. Then from there, another 40,000 plus sales came in over the next 100 days from the stragglers that are going to come back through the good remarketing that we have, and in general, people that need some time to decide to buy, given this wasn't a cheap item. This is an item that actually is in the 4-figure range, by the way. So in the higher the price of product you have, the longer it's going to take to get all the sales you're going to get from the traffic you drive into your site from that TV advertisement. But the main thing is, most people, if they were to run this TV ad, they'd watch the sales that came in the first day, and then they would say, I didn't get enough sales, it doesn't work. No, because again, most people aren't going to be ready to buy right away. As far as we've seen, half or even a little less than half or a third of the people will buy right away, and then the other 2/3 aren't going to buy till later. So if you look at, and you saw that you spent $15K for the feature and got 40,000 in sales, which is a 3-to-1 return, that's not good enough. Oh, it doesn't work. But you don't see the other 2/3 of the sales that come in. So you now have a 10-to-1 return, and a number that works for most product sellers. You would throw away literally millions of dollars of profit just because you weren't smart enough to realize how to actually take into account and measure the sales that come after the very first day that ad runs. So, which, by the way, you can measure the full effect of that TV ad by something called conversion lift, okay? So basically what you want to do to measure how well the TV ad works and your feature works like that is, first, when you run that first ad, you don't have to run multiple placements. You can run one placement, but you run it just to part of the country if it's possible. If ultimately, that's not going to always be possible, but let's say ultimately you could. That would be the most ideal situation. Some TV networks, they're going to have different. It's not going to go the same way across the country. If you could do that, what you could do with that is you could run it, and then you could see how your sales went up over the next 90 days from that part of the country versus the other half of the country. That's how it's typically done. With TV ads, though, you don't always get that luxury. So what you do is the next best thing, and you run the ad, and then you watch the sales over the next 90 days, and you compare them to the previous 90 days sales, and you see the difference in the next 90 days versus the previous 90 days, and the difference of that is what sales you got from that TV ad. And naturally, I know you guys a lot are mumbling, well, I could be for anything. Oh, well, at the end of the day, this is the best way to measure it. And if it looks profitable, you run it again and you try to test and break, if you will, that theory that the TV ad brings in all those sales. If it's repeating again the same way, each time that you repeat that ad, that TV ad, and it repeats the same way in terms of the sales, the more you obviously know that ultimately brought in the sales that you thought it brought in, so to say. So ultimately, you pay attention to the next 90 days in sales, and you see what happens. Obviously, I'll tell you right off the bat that the day that it runs, whatever sales it brought in, you're probably going to get either 2 to 3 times as much sales over the next 90 days than you got the first day. So if you could kind of just do the math before you wait the 90 days, you can run it, whatever sales you get. If you get 40K in sales, you should probably get, another 100K in sales once you've had time for the stragglers to come back and buy. So, basically 2.5 times, if you will, the amount that you got the first day, or ultimately at least double, but probably upwards of triple what you got the first day. If you're also thinking that this is not a scalable strategy because you, the owner, or somebody has to come in and shoot this episode, it's not, because these TV networks, they have it set up so they do reruns. And each rerun, they charge you for each one, but once you know it works one time, once you run the rerun again, it will work almost the same way every single time, as we've seen. So you could actually run it once a month or once every other month for the next 18 months, and you'll get 5-6 showings out of it, which every time it'll give you that boost to sales every single time. So once you know what works once, you could 5x, the repeat of that, and you'll get the repeated sales and it'll keep coming in. Of course, after that, you can do other TV stations, programs that your customers watch, or you could come into the same programs and shoot another one 18 months down the road, because they're only going to run a rerun for so long. But most of the advertising networks set it up that way to where you could run it, and then you have the option to run it up to 6 more times after that and get pretty much the same results every time after that. So with that said, that's pretty much the winning formula as far as we've seen. If you could get a native spot on a TV show that your customers watch, if you have a fishing product, you get on the fishing channel. If you have a food product, you get on the food channel. If you have a tool or an auto upgrade or something like that, you get on the motor channel, and so forth. So you obviously will have to have a niche product kind of where you could do that. It may not work for all you guys. You certainly should just give it a try. If there's certainly a TV station that's kind of dedicated to the niche that you're in, you should definitely 100% try this for yourself, because I've seen this work multiple times now, and the results, we can see the results of the sales, how they spike, and then they come through, and all the people that have tried it so far, it's only 2 or 3, but they've kept doing it once they saw the sales come in. And it's integral part of their strategy moving forward once they saw it worked. So that's one way to run TV ads that we know for sure works. There's another way to run TV ads that's not quite as exciting, but still works. Now, going back to the whole thing that I was talking about before, about how if you've done PPC, you picked up the low-hanging fruit in your market, you've gotten all the sales, and then you can add TV ads sprinkled on top and get even more out of what you've built online by driving more qualified traffic in. Same thing can apply for a lot of other businesses, even if you don't have a niche channel to advertise on. Like if you're selling curling irons, maybe there's a beauty channel, but there may not be a channel that you can get a native feature on like that, like I was talking about for the tool seller. So you could run on traditional advertising spots, in between the program, the traditional TV ad, 30-second TV ad that you normally see. If you've got your PPC to where you can't get any more out of it, you've kind of plateaued the results, or gotten the results to the point where if you raise your ad spend anymore, you're not going to, there's diminishing returns. You're going into less or non-profitable territory by spending more on the PPC ads. Once you get to that point, what we've seen, if you start to add some TV advertising in key spots where your best, most ideal customers are coming from, that will actually boost the amount of sales you get out of your PPC campaigns, given people value what they see on TV, and it engrades in their mind a lot more than like a banner ad online or anything like that, or even something they see on social media, for that matter, that they see your branding on TV. They act sometimes, but not as much as you would want. But when that person eventually has to go to buy, assuming you have something that people eventually buy, you will end up being the one that they click on. When they go to search for it on Google and there's 4 ads there, they recognize your name and they click on your ad 4 times the rate as what they would have otherwise because they seen your ad on TV. We had a foundation repair company where we ran TV ads. We were at 20 million a year in sales and we were flat from the previous year. We weren't really going up anymore because we kind of already picked all the low-hanging fruit with PPC, got on all the networks, on Bing and Google, and a little bit on Facebook with the remarketing, and really kind of was pretty much maxed it out. So for 2 years, basically, we were kind of flat. And so at that point, for me, the obvious thing to do is, what channels can we expand to if we're seeing there that the ad campaigns we already have in the funnel that we've built to convert PPC people from Google search or Bing search, can we drive people into that and make our existing funnel more profitable? Because that's what it's about. Other things to get awareness just creates more flow through the funnel that you created online. So we ran TV ads for this foundation repair company in the local markets that they were in. But unlike what a typical person would do and just listen to the TV sales rep, and just run your ads on everything, no. What you do is you go to Google and go into your data insights on your Google account, and you find out, of the people that converted into a lead, what traits do they have in common? Do they like fishing? Do they like motorsports? Do they like traveling? You figure those things out. And then from what those things individually or specifically, you go find TV stations that match. So what you're doing is you're finding TV stations that have a higher concentration of your eventual buyers of foundation repair than the others. So you get more bang for your buck out of your advertising, or more, basically more chance for it to work. So we run the TV ads routinely on a certain set of channels using that data, because Google gives you that data for free once you've ran your ads. Beyond that, we also know and this is where I aided the client in doing what he was doing, we looked through and find out where most of their customers are coming from, because in the few markets that they were in, it's a regional company, there's certain geographic markets that within the, like the metro areas, in other words, like an area like Phoenix, Scottsdale has a higher income. So they have a higher concentration of people in Scottsdale than outside of Scottsdale. So, but, it could be not just rich people that buy more from you. You just got to figure it out. You can go into your Google Analytics data, if you've had your tracking set up for a while, and see where, let's say, 80% of your sales are coming from, what parts of the city that you're in, or what parts of the country that you're in, if you are advertising nationally. And then within that, of course, you run the TV ads on only showing in geographic placements that match where you have a high concentration of buyers normally. And which is really easy to do, because even if you're watching, you can advertise so that it only shows up in part of the city. This is really easy to do with TV advertising. Anyway, by making sure we were on the right programs in the right parts of the city where most of their customers were at, and then regularly advertising on that, that was what was able to bring us from the 20 to 29 million primarily. Obviously, there's other factors we can't account for, but with our sales being mostly the same the previous year, 18, 19 million, and then going to 20 million, and then going from 20 million to 29 million the next year, this is the main thing that changed in our advertising and marketing. So therefore, that's what we're kind of attributing it to, is that TV advertising that we sprinkled on once all the PPC was set up pretty good. So respectively, a couple other things to mention about this. The lead cost from running these TV ads was 2.4 times higher than the average lead we got from Google search. Because with TV ads, you can also track. You can go to CallRail or another call tracking provider, get a call tracking number, take that call tracking provider number, put it on your TV ad for them to call if there's something that they could call about and buy, right? And you'll know how many calls you got from your TV ads. You can even do, which I would recommend, a different tracking number for every station, every actual TV channel that you're on, right? And also you could do each geographic market if you wanted. But main thing is you do it on each station. So you can figure out which stations are driving the most calls. But irregardless of the cost per lead and whether that cost per lead is profitable for the TV ads from the people that call, which you're not typically going to get people to just see a TV ad and respond right away. That's not where the money's made. The money's made in people seeing the ad, highly valuing what they see because it's on TV, and they're not seeing other foundation repair companies on TV. When they go to search for foundation repair sometime in the next 2 years, your name stands out as a brand. And so therefore they're more likely to click on your ad, which the higher your click-through rate on Google search ads, the lower your cost per click, and it's going to reduce your cost per lead on Google ads. And it's also just going to make you're going to get a lot more sales from Google ads than you had before, which raises the profitability of your company. And if you're already doing 15 million out of the 20 million in your company from Google search ads, and you do something that's going to make a lot more people that when they search for foundation repair, click on your ad, now you could bring that 15 million to 25 million. And now we have taken a company that was 20 million to 29 million a year just by introducing these TV ads in kind of the right spots where most of our buyers are at itself. So you can actually, through call tracking, measure your cost per lead, but the cost per lead from the ad is pretty much irrelevant. It's a nice to have to kind of optimize which TV channels you should show up on the most. That certainly is something that you want to do, and we do. But the main thing is you're looking at the overall conversion lift. Conversion lift, going back to this over and over again, only cares about how much your overall sales get pumped up after introducing a new advertising technique or marketing technique to your company. One that, of course, can have a big impact. And so when you are introducing new things in your company as far as advertising goes, what you do is you introduce something. If it works, you keep it. If it doesn't work, you leave it. And then you introduce the next big thing. But you don't do multiple things at once. And each time you do, you watch how your overall sales are impacted, specifically making sure to account for year-over-year changes or seasonality changes. But with that, you should see the most important thing is, did your overall sales go up? Given a lot of the tracking that we have to track, whether somebody calls from an ad or what have you, it's very flawed. But it's not so flawed that you can optimize your advertising itself, but it's not at all a good indication of the ROI you're getting from it. The overall sales are. So you can use the tracking of your TV ad spots to try to figure out which is kind of the better placements as a whole, given that the whole thing only captures so many. Knowing that your individual tracking that tracks individual lead sources is only so accurate, you use the overall sales as your primary indicator if something works and if you're going to continue with it or not. And you use the tracking that you have that will track, supposed to track how many calls or whatnot you get from the ads, only to optimize the ads themselves. And so conversion lift is going to be your secret weapon that gets you to understand the true value of running the TV ads, that makes it so-called affordable to you and not seemingly so affordable to somebody else, so that you get the big lift in sales by using it and the other people in your market don't. So there's two things that stop people from being very successful in business as far as being able to advertise and get customers and clients that way. One of which is they don't know how to make a good ad that can outdo their competitors. And the other one is they don't know how to track it right. They think they make wrong assumptions about the value of what they're doing. And so ultimately, you could actually have an average ad, but you understand how to track things better using the conversion lift methodology, and you could be the one that wins just from that. Of course, it's better to have a better ad or try to do a better ad and understand better how it works and affects your sales overall. But even if you just understood that the TV ad brings you sales and the other person who try it with a similar approach don't understand that it brings enough sales to be profitable, you're going to make a shitload of money anyway. So anyway, in general here, you can run native ad TV spots and do very, very well. if you don't have something where there's a native ad spot that might fit your product and your audience that you're trying to sell to, you can try to run TV ads. I still recommend you kind of do PPC first. It's the quick, I don't want to say the quickest per se, but like starting out with smaller money, it's just usually easier to get PPC to work 99% of the time. Once you get to a plateau and it gets harder to expand your PPC though, TV ads are a great, great secondary thing to be able to do for yourself. It's, by the way, just like, even if you didn't want to do TV ads or in addition to TV ads, it's just like writing articles for industry publications as well. And if you wanted to try to see if that works, you can apply to be a guest writer at an industry publication, get an article going, and then see how that affects your sales. And then from there, start to pay to have your article featured so that it can be featured respectively more prominently so that it gets more even more action. But the native TV ad placement that I was talking about here is very similar to being published, having an article published in a magazine or online blog or online publication, in that the people that are there to watch the content, it has a very high impact on the people that you want to sell to, respecting and placing value on what you're selling in order to try to sell to them. It's not viewed as an ad, so it just is going to work better. So it's similar to industry publications and like written publications. It's basically just a different form of the same thing, which basically all of those work if you got a good product and you can present well in those spaces. So anyway, with that said, TV ads can be a great supplementary thing you do to your PPC or with your PPC to make your PPC work so much better, which then of course pays for the cost of running the TV ads in the first place, which is why traditional TV ads are a great supplement to PPC and why they still work. So I'll wrap it up with that. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you really did like the video, I'd appreciate it if you would give it a like and consider subscribing, as we have a ton of other content on this channel that shows you how to make money with PPC. Not just TV ads, but if you want to make millions of dollars with your PPC, this is the channel for you, as I share with you the actual stuff that actually makes money for our clients, and in that we use to guarantee the results. We spend tens of millions of dollars on ad spend to find out what works and what doesn't work, and we share it with you on this channel. You can't find more actionable advice that you're going to find on this channel anywhere else on YouTube. And it comes from somebody who's actively doing the strategies, finding this stuff out myself, as I work on a few dozen PPC campaigns at a given time. So, and if you like this channel, you will like my blog, and you can find that on guaranteedppc.com/blog. If you have any questions, leave me a comment below. I get back to every single person who leaves me a comment. You can ask any questions about the topic at hand, TV ads, or any PPC related questions you'd like. I usually answer within a couple days. As a final note, if you don't already know, I offer a PPC service here where we guarantee results for our clients. We can estimate how much sales we can bring to you on your campaigns if you were to reach out to us and see if we can work with you on a contingency basis, where we would basically look at what you're making now. We would offer you so much of a lift on your sales before charging any fees at all. Or if you have a good enough product, if you aren't even selling anywhere on Google or Facebook at all, we might be able to build a campaign for you from scratch, get it going, get it profitable, then start charging fees once we've done that for you already. And we would be able to tell you how much sales we could bring you, short, mid, long term, with a projection and all that, if you're a good fit. But you'd have to reach out to us to let us know what you're selling, and we'll see if we can take you on as a client. If you're interested in somebody, though, to take you from zero to millions without having to do almost any work, where we do 99.9% of the work and have myself strategizing your account, you need to reach out to guaranteedppc.com to be able to get that done. So be happy to hear from you, but I'll wrap it up with that. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. I hope to see you on my next video where we have another strategy for you to be able to use there. Peace out.